What's going on, guys, and welcome to Legit Fishing. Hey, I hope everybody's doing good. Welcome to Legit Fishing. My name is Dustin Holland, and today we're going to talk about Shakey Heads. Now, Shakey Head to me is one of the most versatile baits that you can use. You can use it during spring, fall, summer, winter, all time of year, all types of cover and rock and whatever you're fishing, structure-wise, river, lake, it can do it all. We're going to talk about a few different baits, a few different heads that I use, and a couple different rod choices that I use to throw a Shakey Head. Now, there's three different heads that I use. My number one head that I typically throw is a Spotsticker 3/16 with a bait keeper on it, Screwlock. Now, this is by far my favorite Shakey Head to use. It comes through cover great. It's got a 4/0 hook in it. It's got a big enough and a stout enough hook to throw almost every worm size. And I just love this one. A little bit of a deviation from the two. Another one that I use is this Capt bass. It's almost identical. It's a 3/16 with a Screwlock, same size hook. The only difference is the hook eye is turned the opposite direction from this one. Now, like I said, this one is my all-time favorite. They're sometimes hard to find. They're a little bit more expensive than this Capt bass one. So if you can find the Capt bass, it and the Spotsticker are almost the exact same thing. Now, if I'm throwing a Magnum Shakey Head, if I'm throwing a bigger worm, I will step it up to the Owner Ultra Head Shaky type. This one is a 1/4 ounce with a 4/0. I typically throw this 3/8 with a 5/0. That's just for your bigger worms, your Magnum trick worms, anything that's got a thicker body on it or a longer body. I typically like these. When it comes to worms, there's a million different Shakey Head worms out there. To go along with this Spotsticker head, the Spotsticker Shakey Head worm is, they call it a 6-inch Finesse Stick. This worm is great. It's already comes, it's got a pre-scented, it's got a good amount of salt to it, load of different colors. You'll notice something very common about 4 of the 5 worms that I've got up here. They're all green pumpkin. I vary from green pumpkin very seldom. Mainly if I'm chasing largemouth during the summertime, I might throw in a different color, maybe some purple or a June bug or something like that. But 99% of the time, I'm going to throw a green pumpkin variant. The glitter might be different in the worms, and a few of these are different color glitters. They've got a little bit more color than just your standard green pumpkin that has a black glitter in it. But green pumpkin's my go-to. I honestly feel that you can go anywhere in the country and green pumpkin is going to catch you a fish. Now, I'm in North Georgia, fish Lanier a lot, fish a lot of these highland reservoirs, fish Chickamauga. Typically, green pumpkin or a green pumpkin with green flake is great. This little worm right here, this is actually a drop shot worm by Softy lure, but it is green, and when you're having kind of a tough day, those fish are just being real finicky. They want to run from everything you throw at them. You get a lot of short strikes where they just nip the tail. A lot of times I'll drop down to this 4.5 inch drop shot worm, and it seems to make a little bit of a difference. They tend to want to eat that entire worm more than they will some of these bigger worms, but the majority of these are a 6 inch. Same company, Softy lure. This is a 6 1/4 inch Moss Boss. Very similar to a Zoom trick worm, but it's a little fatter, not as long as a trick worm. And this one, color on it is, it's what they call green pumpkin. To me, it's kind of got that Mardi Gras flake in it. You got some red, green, gold along with the black. It's just got a little bit extra shine to it for different conditions. On a sunny day, straight green pumpkin is my go-to. Every now and then, might dip the tail in some dye just to give it a little bit of extra pop, but if it's a bluebird sky sunny day, I like to throw just a straight green pumpkin. Now, you get into kind of an overcast, a cloudier day, early in the morning, later in the day, when the sun's kind of starting to disappear on you, that's when I like to have something that's got a little bit of a brighter flake to it. It just seems to stand out, grab their attention a little bit more. Another worm that I really love, and these, I love Missile Bait products. They are proud of these worms, but these are a conjunction between Missile Bait and Robo Worm. This is their 6 inch magic worm. This one is green pumpkin money, and it's got green on the top and on the bottom, and then it's got kind of a gold band all the way through that worm. And if you've ever thrown any Robo Worm stuff, you know they are just loaded with salt, and these are no different. These are the hand pour style that Robo Worm pours, and they package them for missile baits, and I just absolutely love this worm. If I'm throwing a bigger worm, and I talked about using these Owner Ultra Shakey Head hooks, I love those for a 6 cents Divine Shakey. And this is the only worm that I've got to show you today that is a different color than green pumpkin, but they call this color blood apple. And Zoom made a color a few years ago that to me it was just killer. It was called plum apple, and this is almost identical to it. You got a plum colored worm. The flake in this is, you got a couple different shades of green, you got some blue, and this worm is just a lot bigger. It's a 7 inch worm. It's a lot fatter, and that's when I like to step up to that bigger hook so that I make sure, you know, I've got a better chance of getting a hook in them. Now, everybody has a million different opinions on rod choice. A lot of people hate throwing a spinning rod. Personally, 9 times out of 10, if I'm throwing a Shakey Head, I'm throwing it on a spinning rod. These highland reservoirs, we fish a lot of deep water, especially during the summertime, during the wintertime. You're pulling fish out of anywhere from 30 to 80 feet deep. To me, a spinning rod is just a little bit more versatile when it comes to fishing that deep. There's a lot of different actions. I typically don't throw a Shakey Head on anything softer than a medium, and even then I feel like a medium rod is very light to throw a Shakey Head on. Medium heavy typically is the sweet spot for me, but like I said, everybody's got a million different opinions, and just throw it on whatever makes you feel comfortable. Now, my go-to Shakey Head rod is the Shimano Poison Adrena. This is a 6'11" medium heavy, paired up with a Shimano Stratic CI4. Obviously they don't make the CI4 anymore, but the Vanford would be almost the exact same thing. I think the Vanford is actually a little bit lighter than this reel, but this combo is amazingly sensitive. I fished with a lot of Loomis rods, and I would put this rod up there with them as far as the sensitivity goes. And this whole combo is extremely light. It's super well balanced. I mean, your balance point is right here above the handle, if I can even get it to. There we go. And I throw a lot of lighter line. If I'm throwing my normal Shakey Head stuff, I'm going to throw anywhere from a 10-pound to a 12-pound fluorocarbon leader paired with a 20-pound braid. If you know the fish are being super finicky, you can drop down to an 8-pound leader, but I'm typically going to stick with 12. Try to, you know, if I need to drop down a little bit, I'll drop to 10, but I don't typically like going lower than that. Now, this combo is a very high dollar combo. This is actually probably the most expensive combo I own, for the sheer fact of I throw a Shakey Head more than any other bait. I need that bottom contact. I need to be able to feel when I'm dragging through brush, when I'm dragging over rock, when I'm coming through grass, when during the winter time those fish don't necessarily just hammer your lure, they just kind of pick it up. Sometimes you don't even hardly feel them bite at all. I want to have the most sensitive rod that I can have to be able to feel that. A very close second to this rod setup, and it's a little bit more budget friendly, is this Dobyns Kaden series. This one is a 7.3 medium heavy. It's a KD 713 SF. I have that paired with a Shimano Sahara 2500, and same deal. I've got 12-pound fluorocarbon leader to 20-pound braid. This one actually has that Captain Bass head tied on. This other combo had the Spotsticker head tied on. Really feel like those are interchangeable. This combo right here is about half the price of that combo. Still a little bit more expensive than, you know, a budget option, but like I said, when you need to feel every little detail you can feel, any kind of bottom technique that I fish, I spend a little bit more money on my rod so that I have more sensitivity. Now, when you go to using braid to a leader, you gain sensitivity there. That braid promotes a lot of sensitivity that you wouldn't otherwise feel than if, say, you just throw in a fluorocarbon, you know, straight fluorocarbon or straight monofilament. And I have caught probably more fish on this rod and reel than I have on the other one, mainly because I have owned this one longer. You can tell the handle's kind of dirty and starting to crack a little bit, but that has been a fantastic combo. When I jump up to these bigger Shakey Heads, and I know a lot of guys hate a spinning rod, I get it. If you're largemouth fishing down in Florida, spinning rod's probably not going to be your go-to option. Or if you're in Texas or somewhere, for a bait casting setup, I go with the same model, same brand, same series rod as the last combo that I showed you. This is a Dobyns Kaden series. This is a KD 715C. This is a mag heavy casting rod paired with a Shimano SLX. It should be a 7-to-1. It is. Kind of like that middle ground when it comes to a bait caster rod and a bottom bait. I want to have a little bit more gear to be able to horse those fish out of the brush that they're in, but I also want to have a little bit more speed where I can reel up and catch up to them if they're swimming off with my bait. But anytime I'm throwing the bigger Shakey Heads, I'm going to throw it on a bait caster, and this is my go-to bait caster. This one is paired up with 15-pound straight fluorocarbon. I'm not a big fan of braid to fluorocarbon on a casting reel. I would rather just have straight fluorocarbon in that instance. And again, a more sensitive rod will help when it comes to feeling those fish bite. Now, I talked a little bit about how we fish around here as far as the depth, especially during the winter time. I mean, we drop shot fish out of 80 feet regularly. Shakey Head typically don't throw that deep. Most of the submerged brush piles around where I'm at, you're anywhere from 30 to 40 that you're fishing during the summertime and in the winter time. But we are catching spots mainly that deep. You will pull a largemouth out of brush that deep every now and then, but it's pretty rare. Usually the largemouth are up in the shallower water. Mosquitoes are out right now. But you can throw a Shakey Head anywhere from 6 inches of water to 60 feet of water, and you'll catch fish on it year round. Like I said, that is my favorite technique to throw. I don't think I've ever been to the lake and not thrown a Shakey Head at least a few casts to see if I can get one to bite. But I think that's today's video. If you got any questions, feel free to drop a comment. Always like, subscribe, that helps with the algorithm. And I will catch you guys on the next video.